Hey guys, today I want to talk about Combat Rogue, so that will be a Combat Rogue guide. I switched to Combat Rogue now for Phase 2 because my guild needed a Combat Rogue, so it was a pretty good moment to make the swap. Also, I mean, already at the end of Naxxramas with full beast gear, Combat Rogue was pretty close to Assassination Rogue, I would say. Why? Because first of all, Combat Rogue is scaling pretty good with gear, and also shorter boss fights are better for Combat Rogue because of all the cooldowns that he has. So still, right now at that moment, especially now with the new phase, Assassination Rogue is still doing better than Combat Rogue, but Combat Rogue is bringing something to the raid. We will talk maybe in a few minutes more detail about it. That is very important for the raid, and it's in the combat tree. And we talk about Savage Combat. Increase your total attack power by 4%, and all physical damage caused to enemies you have poisoned is increased by 4%. That means for all the raid. That makes Combat Rogue so good, so strong. But I also have to say, at the moment there is no reason to have more than one Combat Rogue in a raid group. So usually only one spot, and then the other rogue spots are usually filled with assassination. And I would say you can have between 1 and 3 assassination rogues if you would like to have that. It's no problem at all. But at the moment I would say most raid guilds have 1 combat rogue and 1 or 2 assassination rogues with them. So like I said, I just swapped to combat a few days ago. I like the playstyle. I think the playstyle is a little bit more funny because you have to press more button. We all know Assassination Rogue has a pretty standard rotation, so nothing cool is happening there. And yeah, so this is the reason why at the end Combat Rogue is strong at the moment. It scales even better. I think that maybe in the next maybe at the end of Ulduar with full beast we have already like a complete parry situation. That means Combat Rogue and Assassination Rogue will do kind of the same damage. As far as I know, when I looked at some sheets where I think there was a difference of like 3% that Assassination Rogue is doing more than Combat Rogue. And then I guess in the next phases, phase 3 and 4, this will even change around and Combat Rogue will do more damage than Assassination Rogue in most situations. Okay, so that's at the end of the day why Combat Rogue. I think that's already enough explanation why it's good at the moment, why you should maybe go for it, especially if you're interested in it. If you watch this video, then you maybe already play Combat Rogue or you think about playing it, so let us go over all the things that we have here today. I prepared here a little bit something like this. I will post this in the description of the video. I will now not present it like wow, so it's such a presentation. I will now more go over you with all the things. We will go first into the talents and glyphs. Talent, this is the common Combat Rogue skill tree. Nothing special. I mean, you go for sure for a dual wield. If you have dagger and fist weapons, you go for this. If you would not have this, you would go for the swords, but usually you play fist weapon and dagger. You go for the precision for the more hit, for sure. More damage, more haste, blade fury, nothing to explain about it. More expertise, what is very nice for Combat Rogue, that you need less expertise in your gear. And then for sure you go for adrenaline rush and you're going down the tree. To get down the tree, you have to put also for sure 2 points into improved slice and dice, but definitely that's also worth it for you. And you have 1 point that you have to put in any of the talents here above. To be honest, you could go for different things. In my case, the most sense makes definitely endurance. Why? Nice cooldowns with sprint and evasion, reduced by 30%, and 2% more stamina is also not bad. Maybe there's a situation that you survive something like this. And then you go down the tree. For sure, this is maybe the most important thing for Combat Rogue to bring them to the raid. Nice thing for energy regeneration. And then, yeah, for sure, Prey on the Weak and Killing Spree. Killing Spree is a little bit something... I love Killing Spree in very easy fights where, like, nothing is happening. But Killing Spree is hard to use in fights where you are not 100% adapted to already. So, like in a new phase in Ulduar, there are situations, I'm pretty sure there will come situations, where you use Killing Spree and you get killed because you use it. You know, a little bit hard to predict where you land and all these things. So, only use Killing Spree if you are sure about you will not die or kill anybody else, for example, with Chain Lightning or something like this. All the other points as a combat rogue you spend in the assassination tree, and here is pretty obvious what we go for. Just more crit strike, a better rupture, and that we have better chance on combo points. Here just more damage. Yeah, by 30%. You go for 4 points in improved poisons and 1 point here. It's pretty important to have those things. Some people sometimes argue about Killing Spree and put this point away and putting it somewhere else, but at the moment I would not go for that. I think what is more interesting, because like I said, this is the super standard tree, nothing fancy about it. You just have to go for it as a combat rogue. I think there's no points that you can swap around. Really, are the Glyphs. And the Glyphs is very interesting because mostly about the 3 major Glyphs for sure. I have here as my choices Glyph of Killing Spree, Glyph of Sinister Strike. I think those two 45% cooldown reduce on Killing Spree. That's awesome. Chance of 50% on critical strikes of Sinister Strike have to add another combo point. Crit strikes, yeah, 50% chance to add another combo point, also very, very important. And then the third glyph is definitely something that you could discuss about, in my opinion. I think many people would argue maybe for tricks. It's understandable, but we should, if we trick somebody else, then we usually should trick an Affliction Warlock. And on the Affliction Warlock, usually it does not matter the time, how long the tricks is lasting. It's more about his snapshotting. So a longer tricks is here not really preferable in my opinion. So what else you could think about? You could think about Glyph of Adrenaline Rush, increase the duration of the Adrenaline Rush by 5 seconds. That's not bad. That's definitely not bad. We all know how good Adrenaline Rush is. You could argue about Glyph of Blade Fury. You reduce the energy cost of Blade Fury by 100%. That means, when you think about it, Blade Fury, Flurry, 25 energy. That means in most of the fights definitely last more than 2 minutes at the moment. You could use it 2 times. That would save you 50 energy. Not bad. Not great, not bad. Here, Adrenaline Rush, 5 seconds more is 20 seconds instead of 15. That's also far away from bad. Glyph of Eviscerate. You use Eviscerate less often than you maybe think, so I would say no. Glyph of Expose Armor. If you use Expose Armor, could be an option for you if you are the Expose Armor user, because then definitely it gives you more time. You see, by 12 seconds, so that's a lot. So if you don't have any warrior in the raid who uses Thunder Armor, then I think the third glyph should be Expose Armor. Just my opinion. And also you could argue then here maybe going into this, because you could reduce here 10 energy, and it costs 25 energy. So that's something that you definitely have to figure out if you are the Expose Armor user in your raid. What else is possible? Glyph of Feint. I think I would use Glyph of Feint if I would not use what I use right now, the Rupture. Why? That makes Feint free of energy, so that means you can use it on cooldown. I think you should kind of use it on cooldown then, if you are using the Glyph. It could definitely increase your damage, because Feint can proc poisons. Very important to know. But I maybe already know it when you watch this video. And then we are a Glyph of Slice and Dice. Increase the duration of Slice and Dice by 3 seconds. 3 seconds is very less. 3 seconds is very less. You know, we have already here increase the duration of your Slice and Dice by 50%. And when you look here, this times 32 seconds and stuff like this, then another 3 seconds. Nah, it's not worth it in my opinion, just to let you know. Glyph of Vigor is a bait glyph in my opinion. It sounds at the start good. Hey, 10 more energy, that's 10% more energy, but it only matters at the very first attack on a boss. Alright, so then we have the one that I use, Glyph of Rupture. Increase the duration of Rupture by 4%. Especially good when you go for the 4-piece, just to let you know. I will go first of all for the 4-piece set, and then later transition into full piece. Glyph of Rupture, 4 seconds more. If you look on the times of Glyph of Rupture, then 4 seconds are definitely mattering here much more than on 3 seconds on the Slice and Dice. So that's my choice at the moment, Glyph of Rupture. If I would not go for Rupture, I would go for Feint. If I would have to use Exposed Armor, maybe I would go for Exposed Armor, just to let you know. Mina Glyphs are pretty common, Blood Speed, Glyph of Distract, Glyph of Vanish. None of them is helping you really to make more damage, besides maybe the Glyph of Vanish that gives you more movement speed, that can help you to have more uptime on the boss, just to let you know. So that could be definitely helpful. Let us go to the stat Prio now after Talents and Glyphs. If you have any questions about Talents and Glyphs, ask it in the comments, please. I have here my own sheet. The sheet is also available for everybody. I will also put it in the description. You see already that here are some guys online and looking at the sheet. The difference between combat and assassination rogue is because of the expertise cap. As you can see, you definitely have 2.2 of 2 points on weapon expertise, and that lowers it drastically, because you can see you need usually 214 expertise and now only 132. Depending on your gear, that makes you gives you a big ability to take more gems for attack power, what could lead to even more damage. But that's the biggest change on stat Prio for assassination and combat. That yes, still for sure, hit is the most important, especially the ability hit cap and the poison hit cap. Poison hit cap is 17%, and then the expertise. You have to get to your expertise cap. I would definitely recommend it. There are some guys that trying without the expertise cap. It can work, but it's just first of all, my overall recommendation, go for the expertise cap. Later on you can test some things, but at that moment I would go for the expertise cap, and then for sure it's agility, attack power, and then the little change from combat to assassination rogue is that armor pen, haste and crit, instead of on assassination side is haste, crit, armor pen. Armor pen is a stat that was in phase 1 not really available. I think I can only remember 1 or 2 items that really gave you this stat, and now there are much more, especially so that means at the end of Ulduar. What means at the end of Ulduar? When you have close to your bis gear, then you have here very good armor pen stats that helps you a lot to bypass the armor of the enemy bosses. So that's it about the stat Prio. Like I said, pretty easy. You can also read here the about the hit cap. Here's it about the expertise cap. For sure, expertise is changing. When you're orc and you use X's, usually you should not use X's at that moment. If you are a human, sword space, but yeah, if you're human, then the sword could be a thing, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so next topic would be the gear. Let us swap over here. What should I tell you about the gear? All the gear that is at that moment bis, you get it out from Ulduar. 10-man and 25. So just to let you know, the 10-man is very, very important. This here is the full bis gear. Here's more an optional bis gear. The full bis gear already shows you, and I mean, just look at it. Here's a 10-man, 10-man, 10-man. So there are definitely some 10-mans. You have the tokens for a T-set also here on combat. What we are talking here more about today. 10-man is a hard mode, okay. 10-man, 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 10-man. And also when you go here down to the optional bis gear is also a lot of 10-man. That means overall Ulduar very important. But also when you start maybe now your journey as a combat rogue, you can get a lot of things back from phase 1 or pre-bis gear from Naxxramas. Naxxramas 10-man is dropping now the loot from the 25-man. The fist weapon from Kel'Thuzad, so you have every week the minimum 2 chances to get it. It's still very strong. The only one that is really so much better are 1 or 2 items in Ulduar. And same for Web Dev, is still an awesome offhand. I was pretty lucky. I have at the moment, as you can see here, I already have the Bis weapon, the Golden Serenite Dragon, the Fist weapon, and I got already also a dagger for my offhand. The only 2 daggers that now are better is the Competence Bootblade. That's from a 10-man hard mode in... No, it's not a... Is it a 10-man hard mode? The Competence Bootblade? I have to look it up. Or the Blade Twister from Freya hard mode 25. So, yeah. That means, overall, what is very, very important for you, if you already have Bis gear from Naxxramas, then only thing that you have to do is raiding Ulduar 25 and 10-man. 10-man is very, very important. And also please try to go for your heroic plus dungeons daily, that you get the 5 conquest points every day, because what is very strong, you can get there a belt, and you can get there I think it's the helmet and the chest that you can get there, the T-set pieces for you. Okay, that's also what I already said about the emblems. So now let's come to the rotation. I show it to you here one time in a very theoretical way. Let me say, but to be honest, it's a correct way. I usually I would not call it really rotation. I would call it more a prio list. And the biggest prio over everything, because you will see that the most damage that you do are your auto attacks, is that you keep slice and dice up. There is nothing more important than keeping slice and dice up. All the other points that you are using, you use for uptime of Rupture, and also if you have too much combo points, as you can see there, you spend them on a Whiskerate. But you should not spend 4 or 5 combo points on a Whiskerate when your slice and dice is running out in 1.5 seconds. Then you wait this 1.5 seconds and make another slice and dice, and then later on you will see if you can spend points in a Whiskerate. That's very important. What is also very important is your cooldown usage, as you can see it here. The good thing is you can line them pretty well up, because with Berserking as a troll, if you're not a troll you don't have it, and Adrenaline Rush, they are 2-3 minute cooldowns. That means you can line them up in a very, very good way. And also apart from this, you have a 2-minute cooldown with Blade Flurry that you can use mostly 2 times in every fight. You have a little bit more than 1 minute cooldown with Killing Spree. Killing Spree, I would recommend you to use it, first of all, only in situation that you are not in risk to die. And also when you have less energy, because in that time that Killing Spree is running, you will just regenerate energy, because you used Killing Spree and it costs no energy, and in the meantime you are just regenerating it. So that's very important. For sure you also should have your Gloves enchant for better for more haste, and yeah, you also have your consumables that you know, like Fistal Tea and Potion of Speed that you should use, Separate Charge and Serenite Bombs. That's pretty important. So that's the most important thing about the rotation. And I mean, 67,000 HP has this guy, and to be honest, it's pretty easy to kill it. Usually I start, like I said, with a Sinister Strike, and then I will okay, let me use cooldowns now. I mean, that makes Combat Rogue so strong also, that with the cooldowns you are an unstoppable machine. So fights that, as shorter the fights get, as better will Combat Rogue also get. Their only other thing is if it's a fight lasting so long that you can use your cooldowns twice. That's also pretty good for Combat Rogue. But apart from this, outside of your cooldowns, you definitely do less damage than some other DPS specs at the moment. So it's very important that you use your cooldowns pretty easy PC or pretty well here. Like I said, it was a level 82 elite with 62,000 HP and easily went down. I did not use evasion or any other thing that lowers the damage that I get, so he just could make me barely 7k damage while I made him 67 or 70k around. Poisons, it's different to assassination, but it's not like I would say it's complicated. For sure, poison is that you use instant poison on your slow main hand weapon and you use the deadly poison on your fast offhand weapon. Assassination is exactly turned around here. There are situations that you could use Feldstriker and Titan Steel Spellblade to make maximum damage in AoE fights. I'm talking more about trash fights here, and then you would use 2 times instant poison on both weapons. Let's come to the last point, professions. Yeah, I'm engineering. There is nothing to argue about. Engineering is absolutely biz. And then we have jewel crafting or tailoring. I'm jewel crafting at that moment, and I would recommend you to go for jewel crafting, but two things can make you argue about it. First of all, jewel crafting is much more expensive to level it up. I cannot tell you the exact price because it's definitely server depending. I would say if you don't have any materials and you want to get it up from 0 to the point that you need for getting the better gems. The better gems are looking like this. Sorry, where's one here? 68 attack power instead of the just usual 32. You can use 3 of them in your gear. It's about. So jewel crafting gives you more DPS over time. So when the fights are longer, it gives you more damage. There is no doubt about it. Tailoring is better in short fights and it's more cheap. So at the end of Naxxramas, there were definitely, I'm not sure, but I would say half of the bosses tailoring, so the cloak enchant, was already better than jewel crafting. I'm not sure how short the fights will become in Ulduar now during the next 4 months that we maybe will be playing in Ulduar. Depending on that thing, tailoring can get again the same good as jewel crafting. So it's up to you. If you want to spend the money, then definitely my recommendation is pretty clearly jewel crafting. Will cost you around, like I said, with 0 materials and 0 skill at the moment, I guess will cost you around 3,000 and 4,000 gold. Tailoring is much more cheap. First of all, you could farm the cloths very easy in some dungeons. I think I made a guide about it in my YouTube channel. And if not, as far as I know, it will only cost you like 1,000 or 1,500 gold to get it up. That's the big difference. So that's about the professions. That was the last point on my guide that I wanted to bring. I will definitely release some videos about playing combat as better. Learn to play combat in raid. What you have to think about on some boss fights. I had now 1 raid in Ulduar, 125 man raid, 110 man raid. Both went well. I think I was rank 66 in the world or something like this after the first few days. Now for sure it dropped a little bit. I'm not playing it perfect right now, definitely not, because like I said, I just switched like 1 or 2 weeks ago to combat, but I definitely will work hard on it, especially theory-wise, because you know you have only 1 or 2 raids at a week. So theory-wise, I will try my best. I will definitely shoot you the infos that I have all the time when I have it. I will put a sheet in the video description. I would appreciate every like or subscribe, or for sure also comment if you have any further questions or suggestions. And that's it for today, guys. Enjoy. Bye bye.